Summer isn't quite over yet, and things are getting crazier at Camp Campbell. We're talking Season 2, Episodes 7, 8, and 9 of Camp Camp, and it starts right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
A little bit of Donna Summer, everybody, because it's the summer. We're talking about a hard-working lady. And, good evening, campers. Welcome to the AfterBuzz TV After Show for Camp Camp, available on RoosterTeeth and YouTube. Tonight, we're talking about episodes 7, 8, and 9. Bonjour, bon cuisha, Gwen Gets a Job, and Eggs Benefits. We got the Rooster team here, whole squad. Starting to my left, Megan Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's ThemenGuin. And to my left, Stacey Shuttleworth.
Hi guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttles. And next to me is wonderful Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies. You can follow me all over the social medias at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. And if you assume we have a fully rounded table, then to my left.
Oh, we can't break the fourth wall, so yeah, I'd say left. I'm Mark Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark Donica. You can find all of us on Twitter either at AfterBuzz TV for all of our wonderful after show goodness, as well as the team at ABTV Rooster Team. That's where we talk about things like Camp Camp and Red vs. Blue and Day 5? Anything that's Rooster Teeth, really. Yeah, so make sure to follow us there. That's our main outlet to you. But holy crap! Now, last episode, y'all hadn't watched 7, 8, 9, or at least 7 and 8 because 9 wasn't out yet. And I hyped them up quite a bit. Did it live up to the hype?
Yes. And so much more.
I think 8 is probably my favorite episode this season.
8 has one of my favorite non-plot specific jokes in it. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Before we talk about the episodes, though, it's camp. You can't have a camp without activities. So we're going to talk about our camp activity. That's 3 camps. What is the worst gift you've ever given or received? And we got a couple of campers from the community that submitted. First, we've got Cam, who's submitted, who's a part of the RoosterTeeth community down in Texas. And he's got a little story for us. Take it away, Cam. That's also the music. That's okay. Hang on for tech. We're going to listen to Donna Summer a little bit first. And then just start it over, because you know what? It's summer, and Donna has summer in her name.
It's the story of how he worked hard for the money.
But no one treated him right.
Earn for money for the gift.
Y'all don't even know. Let's take it back to Cam.
RoosterTeeth community group in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas called RTDFW. We're a fairly large and active group with, regular meetups at least once or twice a week. One of the things we like to do is during the fall and spring we do field days, where we do sorts of outdoorsy activities at a park.
And it was
and one of the things we do during these field days is we hold raffles. We did a Halloween carnival, and the admin running the whole event asked me, me being an actor, to do like a carnival barker kind of thing. Instead, I threw together a costume for a clown character I call Grumbo. Grumbo was essentially if the quartermaster were a clown.
If he's not a clown.
Then I went to flea markets and thrift stores and bought up a bunch of items that I would also give away in the raffle as booby prizes. Some of these items included a knockoff Lego set with a little figurine of Ash Ketchum and a little, I think it was an Eevee made out of bricks. Only the box was labeled Squirtle Pikachu. There was a small pack of bootleg Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and some of the cards didn't even have any text on them. And then my personal favorite was a filthy Tweety Bird butterfly net. And caught in the net were 3 blank bullet casings. They were spent, they were used from other shows that I do. And that prize actually went to my now girlfriend.
Who knew that a butterfly net full of bullet casings could woo a young lady's heart?
Well, bullet for my Valentine.
Boo! More like a
Shut up, that was amazing.
Boo-lit. And then our other camper to submit their story was our good friend, Caitlin Rose. Let's take a listen.
Maybe.
I've ever given someone was for a White Elephant gift exchange, and it was a regifting of a previous White Elephant gift exchange that my parents had been in, and it was a can of pig's brains
Wah!
that had been found in someone's grandmother's closet while they were going through cupboards. And
That's terrible.
so I decided
Had you not
I
watched
was going to
this?
sit
No,
there.
I wanted to wait for the
re-gifted.
reactions to the show.
Although I did throw in Pez dispenser because I'm not a monster.
Just dispense
yeah.
the brains out of the
Can
Pez
pig's brains.
dispenser.
Yeah, you just cheese. Goodness gracious.
Oh my
I
god.
thought I had a really good story, but no. I have been outdone. The Cullen family meme has been outdone.
I think that's literally that blows everything we bring to the table out of the water, right?
easily.
Both of them do. Oh my god.
Holy hell.
So now let's get to our counselors. Who wants to go first?
I will.
Go ahead, Katie.
at the end of the
Yeah,
table.
I mean you oversold it last episode, so please.
Well, after that,
Yeah.
I almost had a visual aid, but it turns out it's really hard to dig up a physical picture that is almost 20 years old.
Oh sure.
So my mom tried, and I do appreciate the effort. But when I was younger, I want to say like 5th, 6th grade, when I was younger, we had an aunt that started giving us fun and interesting gifts. And later on, it was boxers and a case of kick-yo-ass hot sauce and
Nice.
a quartz lamp, which is the single oddest thing we've received as a family. And Megan knows that story.
I think
But
that one's
for
the best one
me-
she should have used.
But
that's
this one
just me.
needs to start here, because this was back when she was still giving like thoughtful good gifts. Like my elder brother got a CD and my younger brother got a video game, and I'm like, okay, Aunt Janine's got this. We got this. And so
She's on this year.
she's on. Well, she was. This is the year where she started being off. For me, at least.
well.
And I was such a tomboy growing up because boy shirts had the best things printed on them and girl shirts were all about my boyfriend. And I'm like, no. So, total tomboy. And I'm like, I open up my package and the first thing is it is bright pink. Which 10-year-old me is like, oh, okay. And I pull it out and it's this long sleeve shirt. It's just bright, fluorescent, dear God, why, pink. With the word love printed on it vertically in pastel sequins with a heart for the O. So it's the love shirt. Now, at the time, my mom had a tradition of taking pictures of us holding our presents and smiling so she could put the nice physical copy in the thank you note when it got mailed out to our relatives going, our kids enjoyed your gift. Your niece and nephews are super happy with it. There's a picture somewhere of me holding this shirt, trying to smile and looking incredibly disgruntled to the point where that thank you note never went out, I'm pretty sure. And we now call
Held it hostage.
And we now call it the love look in my family, because that is it's the thought that counts, but what the hell were you thinking? So now and this is Cullen family shorthand that has persisted through the years. So it's still just like someone will open a gift and go, oh God, it's the love look, isn't it? Well, there's a gift receipt.
I love this gift.
Seriously, it's just me looking at the camera like, the fuck is this?
It's rough. Who wants to go next? Who wants to follow the? I mean, we're all
Who
following
wants to
a pig
follow
brain.
the love look?
Well, just because it's a similar theme. There's a much worse present that I'm going to tell as a second hand. But in terms of, I had a similar situation where I had a family member right at that age before you're like, someone has given me a gift. This is a nice thing. You should be appreciative of this thing.
Oh no.
And well, no, because it's in a similar vein of I'm not the closest thing I get to sports is WWE. You know, I'll go if someone wants to go to a game, I'll go to a game, sure. But this is young me. I'm all about video games, cartoons, all that stuff. And one of my family members gives me like a Lakers jersey. It's like I just said thanks, and then I just went to the next thing. Just the worst reaction. I was a total shit about it, and I acknowledge it.
The Lakers look.
Yeah, the Lakers look. But I'd definitely say the worst gift that anybody has ever given was in a white elephant exchange at one of my old works. People brought real gifts, and one person decided to go, you know what? No, I'm going to do the joke thing that everybody's supposed to do, and they took an old router that they had and wrapped it up, and that everybody else got something. Like, I got a jar of cookies, or somebody got, like, a Dreamcast that somebody just wasn't using. Like, a really, awesome either bought for or made or leftover stuff. But one person was like, yeah, whatever, here's an old router. It's a joke. But somebody was left with that old router, and they were not happy. Because I think they actually somebody got that and went, no, I want the Dreamcast. And then, rough. Absolutely rough.
I mean, if you're going to play the white elephant game.
Yeah, like the white elephant game that I wasn't. Someone actually brought wire cleaner. And they felt so bad because every other white elephant they'd been in was all awful gifts. And then they came to this one prepared for that, and everyone else was like, here's this, here's that. Someone got a singing Billy Bass and literally ran out of the room so they couldn't take it from them.
That's the thing. Is if you come to a white elephant with a bad present, you bring like a $10 Starbucks card or something.
You
so you get the joke.
Ridiculous gifts.
Yeah.
But...
Or if somebody ends up with a bad one afterwards, you go, I'm just kidding, Merry Christmas, then you hand them a thing. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's made explicitly clear that they're like, no, they all need to be joke
right.
gifts.
Everyone's all in or not.
Like, because I've definitely been to white elephants where, like, they put, like, literally, you can't go out and buy something. It has to be something crappy.
Yeah. That's if it's stated in the rules, we're down.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Like, so the
wire
rules need to be
cleaner, though.
defined.
All right. Moving on from White Elephant Cast. What do y'all got?
All right. So mine isn't quite as crazy as any of these, but it's the one that has stuck with me for the longest time. This happened back in high school. We arranged a secret Santa with our friends. And the day comes and we all exchange our gifts, and I open it up, and it is just a clearly used teddy bear. What? It's got matted fur. Oh my god!
Somebody took their
gave you
little.
boba?
I don't know.
Nice pull. Nice pull.
But it was a very odd thing, and I was like, oh, thank you,
Mr. Honey Nuts!
The holidays are coming.
touch this.
Colorless Moon in chat says there is a candle that me and my friends re-gifted each other for all 4 years of high school. Now that's great. That's a good
See,
story.
now that's a joke at that
Yeah.
point, though.
Right,
It's
that's-
not
yeah,
like,
funny.
here's your wire cleaner.
You should just
all
add
right.
the bow. Keep adding bows onto it. Keep rewrapping it.
Start adding more candles
Exactly.
to it.
Malachroma has evidently been tipped with a 20-pound bag of cat food at work. Like, who had that in their car?
What?
Or their purse? That's a lot of cat
Carry a
food.
20-pound bag of cat food around with you at all times.
No, my cat eats canned food.
You never know when you're gonna need it.
Right? Always.
I carry around a bottle opener because I need that all the time.
For me, I was racking my brain about this because generally speaking, I've been disappointed by gifts before, but I've never gotten anything that was memorable enough to be like, in my mind, considered the worst thing ever. Usually it was either just disappointing, utterly forgettable, or genuine. There was a lot of genuine thought behind it. So even something that didn't necessarily gel for me, I'm like in and out of my brain. It's gone. But there's one gift I have given. Not that it was necessarily a bad gift. Yeah, it was a bad gift.
a bad
So
gift.
the way your voice is going, it's a bad gift.
But when I was in 3rd grade, I don't remember what the context was, but we decided to do a gift exchange between all of the kids in class. And I happened to draw the name of the boy I had a crush on at the time. His name was Brian. And I was a semi-artsy kid, I suppose you could say. And one thing that I liked to do when I was really young was take coffee strainers, the little paper ones, basically color on them, get them wet, and they were basically water, and turn them into watercolored flowers, basically.
That's cute.
It's very cute. So I decided to make him a bunch of little artsy things like that. So one of the things I put into this box was a bouquet of those flowers. And I don't really remember what else I put in there, but as all the other kids started opening up their stuff, I quickly realized, I was like, oh, like the things I made are not up to par. And by the time he opened it, half of the things I had made, including all of the flowers, had fallen apart.
Oh no!
You gave him a box of trash.
I gave him a box of trash. And I just had to sit there and be embarrassed about it.
Well, speaking of boxes of trash, let's talk about David. Our first.
He
Which
is
I will
not the
say-
garbage fire in these episodes.
No,
Oh, Lord.
we'll talk about David. So, bonjour, bonquisha. already just by the title, one of the things that we wanted when we started this season was what happened to David and Bonquisha? Well, we saw the end of it.
So hard.
Well, even still, poor Jacob.
I feel bad for Jacob, but ultimately I just want Bonquisha to go, hey, David, let's give it another try.
I feel like from Bonquisha's point of view, David is a sweet little novelty, but at some point you're like, this was nice for a little while, but you can't keep up.
You really can't, not with her.
A lot of euphemisms that we could use that we're not going to.
Your heart touches me places your hands never did. Like, okay, yep.
So not only was this a Bonquisha episode, this was also the Flower Scouts returning.
Yes.
Dear God, this was just pure mayhem. And one of my favorite things that we got with season 1 was the establishment of all of these characters, and now they just threw them into like a bingo roller, and it's like, all right, Bonquisha Flower Scouts, go.
Well,
What a great way to mold
This is what random.org came up with. Let's do this.
well, it's actually kind of a return because the last time Bonquisha was in an episode, the Flower Scouts were in it too.
That's true.
So it's kind of I guess whenever we get Bonquisha, you can guess that we're also going to get the Flower Scouts if this pattern is to be believed.
Great combination. I'm here
I
for it.
loved each and every minute of this episode
So
so much.
I loved all of the visual gags around Bonquisha's trailer. I loved her license plate. I loved her address. I think my
Shipping.
absolute shipping community trash was my
Yes,
absolute
that was
favorite.
amazing.
Like, I just need that on a shirt. Just the trash can with that label. Start selling that in the Rooster Teeth
Not-
store. Make it a women's shirt.
Not to mention
One of these comfortable Rooster Teeth shirts that they do have, they're very comfy.
not to
Make it
mention,
a women's shirt.
Not to mention Space Kid doing the Love Actually.
Everybody. Eric juggling the thorny
mess.
rose. Preston being in charge of the whole thing, which was probably a mistake.
I'm ripped now. Also, I have cancer and
Yeah.
I'm pregnant.
And I'm pregnant.
And
Oh,
I'm
Wow.
boy.
Nerf opening up the box of chocolates and just eating them. Yeah, I mean,
Tried, okay.
you want to talk about dumpster
Gold
fires?
star, I tried.
boy.
Yeah, in Comic Sans font, you tried.
Oh my god, oh my god. Ray D to kill in chat says instead of Tabby with 2 eyes, it's Tabby with 1 eye now.
We're not there yet. I was gonna make that joke.
You got beat to the punch.
Well, yeah, you skipped ahead. Christ,
I
we're
don't
not even
care.
at the goddamn
It was
restaurant.
amazing. Oh
Tabby
my
with
god.
one eye.
God bless
And this
America.
Really fucking hurts.
Little interjections.
Well,
God
fine.
bless
Then
that
I'll.
waitress though. I'm sure she's seen some shit.
Then I'll.
wanna
If
hear
we're
her
at the restaurant
stories.
already, I'll go for my favorite visual gag. Was the Flower Scouts literally? Because they visually gagged. That's the joke. That's more where that came from.
Gold star, you tried.
See, that's what happens when you take my damn with one eye joke. I got shit now. But we see Max messing with David on an even
You've been
further
punished.
scale. Nope. Not at all. You can leave. We see Max getting punished. We see Max punishing David. Max using David's credit card in order to pay for $500 of goddamn cookies. Which even though Max is quote helping David by trying to get him and Bonquisha back together,
That's $2,500 at least.
it's a lot of monies. He's never mind. Messed up my train of thought. Somebody talk.
So I do love that when they decide that they're going to help David, I love that anytime the campers come together to try to achieve a common goal, it is just a hot mess.
It's a garbage fire.
They are
It's
the
so
worst.
pile of garbage.
They are the worst team possible. To the Flower Scouts' credit for being children, they actually do come up with a decent plan. The huge, like, at least from that very childlike perception of what relationships are, they come up with a decent plan. Where they fail in terms of their logic was doing the 3 Flower Scouts in a trench coat.
No, that
Sort
worked
of
out
totally
right.
an adult. How do I look? Not a day over 11. Thank you. I am moisturized.
You knew it was trouble at that point. It's like, oh boy.
Oh boy.
But at that point,
How
Max
did
is
she
just like
fluff
excellent.
Tabby's face?
Magic.
Just magic.
Flower Scout magic.
Do not question the magic of the Flower Scout.
I question a lot about the Flower
If you
Scouts.
do, they will come at you with freaking forks.
I feel like if you say Tabby 3 times in a mirror, she'll appear and correct you and say it's with 2 eyes.
Might just be blood shooting out of your eye.
Bloody Tabby, bloody Tabby.
Can I also just say though that I when initially when the scene started playing out, I kind of thought that it was going to backfire on them and that David and the waitress were actually going to start making eyes at each other.
I would have been
expected
so
that.
down.
I super expected
So
that.
down.
I was like, oh, look at her.
I kind of hope she comes back, actually, if things don't work out with David and Bonquisha, which OTP in this show. I hope that, like, David will get together with a nice girl who's more his speed.
I think, given how we are presented people and relationships in terms of like actual relationships outside of camp at the end of episodes, and nothing gets filled in until something is said later, it's entirely a possibility. Yeah.
And that poor waitress, though.
She's so sweet and adorable, though. She was like a human Fluttershy, I guess.
I want an episode
Pink hair.
that's just all the stuff that happens in the only bar in town, like from her point of view.
I would love
That could be a spinoff.
This poor girl. Like, I need it in my life. Having been a waitress before, you get some stories.
We could have a bottle episode, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Aren't they all bottle episodes?
Well, we could
Most
have a
of them?
bottle episode here at the at the bar, at the only bar in town.
We'll move away from the camp for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just so we can get that point of view.
What are some of y'all's favorite lines in this episode?
Honestly, I just love the visual gag of Max doing the Sonic the Hedgehog thing and literally running up David. Just,
Why is
wait,
he up
wait,
David?
wait.
That is
Well,
my
he-
favorite gag of any so far.
It's the most cartoony Max has ever been.
Oh,
yeah.
God, it's so good.
Blue hoodie plus jeans plus his Sonic sneakers and his spiky hair.
He's got to go fast.
Yeah.
I,
Fucking Bon Bon?
that was what I was gonna say.
There you go.
Oh, fucking Bond. You know what? I take that back. That's my favorite, but my second favorite is just Preston going, my heart. Oh,
See, I really like, I'm going to tell y'all what I told those damn Mormons. I'm interested, but I'm not ready to explore myself spiritually. Now get out! Like, yes!
Perfect. So one of my favorites was when they are in the bar and it's Max and just the way he delivers it so matter-of-factly. He's sitting there looking at Neil and he goes, Neil, I've never seduced a man before, but are they doing this right? It's just like he's mulling over the possibilities like, I don't know if I do it that way.
If I were to seduce David,
I'm not a pro in this field, but I'm not sure this is working.
If I may
also
throw my
like
hat in.
David
Absolutely.
giving CPR.
Oh my God,
It's pretty terrible. Pretty awful. That man is awful. I also like the, are you trying to be a waitress when you grow up? God, no.
Neil, again, the worst person. Like, the worst people person in the world.
Oh, no, we're going to talk about terrible people by the time we get to episode 9.
I do want to throw one more out there, and it was kind of the obvious one, but it was also a bit of gold from Gwen, because Gwen is like, Nikki, I'm only one woman. I can't be expected to take care of stupid children and you camper.
Yeah.
That
And
laugh
then-
was great.
Following up, I know 2 people who can make you feel better.
Ben and Jerry.
Ben and Jerry.
So good.
And that made me
yeah,
want to go
you're
out and
right.
get Ben and
We could
Jerry's.
just perform the
very good
entire
advertising.
episode for you guys.
But we're not going
It's
to.
like the 4th time we've watched it.
Another one of my favorites before we move on. I'm going to kill you, slut. That was a good one.
I'm going to kill you, slut.
I mean, it's a lot more shouty. I'm not going to do that because I'm close to the microphone.
Screaming.
Let's move on to Gwen Gets a Job.
Okay. Wow.
Favorite
Wow.
episode of the season. And it's hard to outstrip episode 1's evil musical.
boy.
But favorite episode this season.
Oh, nobody's
my
nobody's
God.
pulling for Jeremy? That's unfortunate.
No.
That's a joke.
I mean, he's cool.
No, he's not.
I mean, we all determined he's
a
the
great
best
camper.
camper. He was the best camper, and that's why he had to go. That's
I
why
love
he had to
that
go.
he
doesn't
came
belong
back just as a little teeny cameo in this episode. Like, yeah, he's still with the Wood
beans.
Scouts. He's still with the Wood Scouts, trying so hard.
Maybe it's just because we were all. I'm not sure if this applies to everybody, but I feel like we were all in college when the recession started, right?
Yeah, essentially.
And
Around the same time.
And maybe we didn't graduate with it like the class of 2008 did, but like when we graduated, things were still pretty stagnant and not great. So Gwen's struggle in this episode is all too real for anybody our age who I don't want to say any millennial because that's not necessarily the case, but I feel
Millennials
like
a wide net.
People have decided millennials are anyone from the age of 10 to the age of 40. So at this point, millennials are just kids
But
these days.
anybody who was entering the
be
job
real.
market at around the time of the recession, this episode is like all too real and all too like it really hits.
And when it comes to the job market part of it, it's a little bit predictable, but it hits harder because we understand it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No
It
job
might-
without
it's-
experience, no experience without
It's
a job.
predictable.
Entry
Too much
level
experience,
means
you're
nothing.
overqualified.
it's predictable because that's what happens.
What did we think about Bernie's cameo?
It wasn't voiced by Bernie.
No, it wasn't, and it wasn't named Bernie either, but it was Bernie.
Bernie, let's be real.
I think that's what threw me is I was like, it looks like Bernie, but it doesn't sound like Bernie. I'm very confused.
It was Matt.
I love that they all got the name wrong, and I loved the what is your greatest weakness? That's actually a strength that we can exploit. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's accurate. That's and also not enough references. Like, yeah, okay.
Oh boy.
Bad flashbacks.
I did love the bit with
yeah.
Gray.
Flashbacks.
The bit with Gray, though. I was like, what questions can we ask you that would trigger your worst anxiety?
And it happens. So the main meat of this episode is that Gwen's trying to get a job, but now we get a relationship that we don't necessarily see in too long, like throughout an entire episode, is her and Max's relationship, and Max still being a total d-bag and blackmailing her for something, not even being super specific. It's the ultimate
Blackmail
evil.
someone. It's probably on his little checklist of things to do over the summer.
But when you're a kid, you can do that though. Like if it's an adult doing it, you're like, oh my god, get your shit together. But Max is like 10, so it's like, okay, yeah, no, this makes sense. They are still kids.
Yeah.
Have you held hands? Like still kids, still kids.
So pure.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Oh, she's the cutest.
Nikki
still
being the
kids.
cutest.
So pure.
But
I'm
yeah,
not.
Max, with his little sociopath self it's funny because he commits a federal offense, as Gwen points out, and still has the cojones to try to blackmail her.
Well, the David cut-ins with CCBFF, and I know you would never leave me.
After an
Sweet
episode
Jesus.
where he wept profusely because a woman
weeks.
left him.
For weeks.
Well, this is the thing that at least these two episodes back to back have taught us is it's not. The relationship between Gwen and David has evolved more from just a coworker point of view to where they've really gone through all of this crap together.
Yeah.
And they're friends. They're legitimate friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she tries to downplay it by saying she's like, it will destroy him if he finds out. And more importantly, I'd lose my job. But, like, that's not what she says first. That's, like, sort of a thing to, like, try to cover her bases. Her first thought in terms of making sure he doesn't find out is how he feels about her trying to leave.
And destroyed David is the worst because we've seen that a couple times.
That's the
over
thing,
course
is
of the
now we know
series.
from the finale of season 1 and the last episode how affected he can be by any sort of stimuli.
Yeah. David, of all people, punching a guy out and, like, hitting a chair over
That's
a guy.
another thing is we've seen an evolution of it where he deals with it now physically, and that could be the campers or Gwen rubbing off on him and him needing to express himself physically because he can't. And we still don't know if that might have impressed Bonquisha at the end of last episode to the point where maybe not because it didn't say boyfriend, said lover.
Yeah.
Still,
Squishy as I thought before.
poor Jacob. Poor Jacob.
But he had such it. we have twice in 2 episodes, we have David being the voice of reason in ways that you don't really expect from this show, and specifically from him, giving actual good life lessons about, you can't control your feelings, you can't control when they come or when they leave or how strong they are, and then remembering the good times and possibly remaining friends, depending on how the relationship ends. And then here we have, I'm happy where I am, but I know you're not, so let me help you. Like, these are both really good. I hesitate to say Wheel of Morality moments because they make sense in the context of the episode, and they're life lessons for our audience. Because the audience is not tiny children, the audience is us.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we need reminders too.
Yeah,
for goodness sakes.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But Rooster Teeth always also does have a younger audience, thanks to Ruby, thanks to the Let's Play community. But
I really hope the younger audience isn't watching this. Like,
Or with parental advisory.
let's be
Guys.
real. If they're paying for a sponsorship, don't care. They're making this show regardless, and whoever's watching it is watching it. So the fact that they can still put these messages in there, and it has evolved from sometimes to legitimate stuff, and even stuff further on in the series that we'll talk about next time.
This is where I make a lot of. Ever since this show started, I made a lot of comparisons to South Park. But it's especially these 2 latest episodes where there is a distinct, semi-contradictory moral.
You know,
but
I learned something today.
It's a very South Park thing of we're gonna say something very poignant about society and about life.
and then ruin it by the final beat.
Right? And then either ruin it or reinforce it, depending on the joke. But either way, you're gonna laugh. Yeah. And that's what we get in both of these episodes. And so I say, well done, Rooster Teeth.
Gwen and David end up making a really adult decisions and also really childish decisions by finding Max's bear and saying, Nerf, you're in charge. Also, Gwen Nerf. Favorite form of Nerf. And
My time has come.
My time has come. And then everybody make fun of Max because he's a teddy bear.
Can I just say though, I actually did really love that when all of the campers thought Gwen was going to leave, they weren't happy about it.
Well, because they know Gwen's the serious business. Let's leave us here with David.
The last time you tried to hire a new counselor, we had the creepy cult guy.
And that was David's fault.
We had Scientology 101. Well, she brought back
Jen.
Jen. Thank
Howdy,
you.
Jen.
Oh, Space Kid. We'll talk about him.
But yeah,
Bless him.
Like when even just Nerf of like going like Gwen would never leave us, and then she drives away, and she's probably just going to get cigarettes.
Who am I kidding?
Who am I kidding?
Like,
Dude, Nerf has been killing it this season so much.
Nerf sincerely needs therapy. Like,
Yeah.
the most broken of homes. He really needs therapy.
And he bounces between beats so frequently.
Oh my God,
I mean,
yes.
just constant different sides going on here.
Yeah.
He's self-aware, but he leans into the curve.
It's one of those things, especially in the next episode, he bounces back and forth between being the victim of abuse to being the abuser. And it's so bad in the next episode, and it made me so upset.
So the episode ends with Gwen going back to the same places that she was, I was going to say auditioning, applying to, actor's life, what up, and getting rejected because she's too qualified. But this was I think since last season, this is one of the best looks into Gwen's psyche that we've gotten.
Oh, yeah.
I also just want to point out from a story perspective that we had 2 episodes in a row specifically talking about the rivalry between the Flower Scout cookie sale and the Wood
Popcorn
Scouts
sales.
popcorn sale.
That's gotta come back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like they're laying groundwork for things later on.
And I love that because Girl Scout cookies are just so well known, but it's much harder to do the Boy Scout popcorn. It's like, so undercut the need for cookies. And I'm like, no. As an avid consumer of both cookies and popcorn, I can tell you that neither hits the spot of the other.
Hashtag popcorn expert.
You can no, seriously. You can cover the popcorn in caramel and butter, and that's real nice, but it ain't a Thin Mint.
Ooh.
It is not a Thin Mint.
Thin Mint popcorn.
Ugh.
Salt and mint is good.
No. That's what we call crossing the streams.
So is
Just thinking
caramel.
of like
Thin
chocolate
Mint
and
ice
caramel
cream.
covered popcorn.
Thin Mint ice cream with chocolate syrup and Baileys.
Like the sweet popcorn.
I know. I guess I'm stopping at the store on my way out.
Let's talk about
Well, I'm
favorite
gonna go get me
lines.
some Ben and Jerry's, so I'm with you.
Let's talk about favorite lines before we move on to eggs benefits.
Oh gosh.
I think my favorite bit was David telling her, no, you have all of these qualifications. I heard you say that you worked with teammates and you came up with a plan and you did this. And I'm sitting here going, and this is absolutely how I got runs an online role-playing group to be coordination among large groups of people and use of multiple different types of software. It looks great on a resume. And nobody sits there and goes, what kind of group did you moderate again? Well, it was based on Cloverfield and...
I will say one of my favorite ones. Eat shit, Satan.
Stuffed his books.
Your words say no, but your eyes say, oh God, you're gonna kill me.
That was great.
Choke him out, I don't care.
That is
also,
an MRA in the making, and he needs to be taken down about 85 pegs.
Just also, Nikki and Neil. Oh my gosh.
Nikki with the definitions.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's insidious.
We're like sneaky and filled with ill intent, and I was just like, oh, Nikki, I'm gonna really love you this episode.
I love that Nikki is the character that can just kind of do that. Like, if we need something a little bit off the wall or a little wild or something that it's like, no one would actually really say this, but we need someone to say it. Nikki. She's the Swiss Army knife of characters, and it's
she's
great.
Gotten so many great one-liners. One that we didn't say from a couple episodes ago, or from Bonjour Bon Quisha, was, I'm a female, and both Neil and...
Yeah.
Biologically, yes.
So yeah, a lot of good ones.
Mine is something that probably nobody will put on a favorite comment thing. Costco desu ka?
Yeah!
Costco!
Yeah, make his ass take you to Costco.
I want to watch that slice of life anime where they just go to Costco. Live in a Costco.
I want to watch an urban fantasy anime where Costco is a nexus for other dimensions.
I would imagine that it's one of those really long titles where it's like, have you ever considered bringing your sister to a Costco?
You got it.
I feel
Coming
like it
soon.
would kind of be like The Devil is a Part-Timer, where you have this crazy, crazy sort of base.
I love that show.
But it's really slice of life with just a little bit of crazy supernatural thrown in. Like, that's what Nexus Costco would be.
Right?
It's Game of Thrones, but different parts of Costco.
Oh my God, the produce department is allied with the bakery.
No. The opening of Game of Thrones, but inside a Costco.
Beautiful.
Costco, shop at Costco, shop at Costco, shop at Costco, shop at...
Mal brings up a very good point. That wasn't an anime, that was a terrible J-drama, and we all know it. J-dramas would be right up Gwen's alley.
Accurate.
Yeah, this is true.
Very accurate.
Or just a behind-the-scenes video of Jordan and Issa going to Costco.
Yeah, that's what Caitlin's asking
Yeah.
for in the chat. Like, yep, I'm down. Go to Costco.
Not to mention just
Make his ass take you to Costco.
The gif of Gwen filing her nails as the tire is bouncing in the background is one of my favorite visual gags the show has ever done.
If anyone has a gif of that, please put it in the hashtag. Send that our way.
It exists. I've seen it. I retweeted it at one point. So
And whoever made the sometimes gif, please put that back in the hashtag because I failed to save it the first time around.
We need it, and that hashtag is ABTV Camp Camp.
It is.
Let's move
I've
on
been
to...
checking it. Malachroma has put the "You Tried" star in there for us.
Fantastic. Let's move on to eggs benefits because we're running low on time. Now this is a staple of American animation. Did anybody actually do the egg thing in school?
not
We
taking care of
had.
it, but we did an egg dropping thing when I was
the egg
in
drop
high
is
school.
great.
No, that
Did
was
you feel
Science,
parental?
not home ec.
no, because mine died.
Where you had to have like straws and tape and paper, and you could only have so much, and you had to
Oh,
build
I
a
see
thing
that.
to make it
I
survive.
fashioned
Budgets.
a parachute. I fashioned a parachute for mine.
Out of a coffee
And
filter?
it would have been fine. It would have been fine, except a slight breeze driving it over from the soft sand landing over to the concrete. I went from yay to no.
We did a Pringle drop because it was far less messy. Our science teacher was smart. But you had to keep a single Pringle from breaking.
Jesus.
Oh boy.
That said, I did
run
have
out
to
of
do...
Pringles.
I just chuck it and be like, that was my
Oh,
failed.
we
sorry.
didn't get the Pringle until we finished our contraption. He had control of the Pringles. Our science teacher was smart.
He was smart man.
I did do the egg thing, but it wasn't an egg. It was it was like a doll, and it was as lifelike as you could make a small toddler, and it cried light and it did this, and you had to have a little key
That's
where
a
you
super
put it in the
budget.
back. Like,
Yeah.
it
Jesus.
It's also terrifying.
It was also
Hashtag
during a
private
snowstorm,
school.
so I know
All
public
right,
school in
hashtag
Wyoming.
public school in Wyoming.
It was also
It's a
during a
long hashtag.
snowstorm, so you bet I had it for an extra day. It was not fun. So it's like, you didn't need to convince me not to get pregnant, and this is just a pain in the ass.
I'm really surprised that American animation hasn't done the twist where, like, yeah, it is the doll where you're taking care of it and you have to learn how to be parents, but then it turns out that the doll is evil.
Autonomous.
Or alive.
There you go. Now this one,
psychological.
we find out that the platypus lays eggs, and the kids, our intrepid leader Cameron Campbell returns to make sure that this money-making proposition of selling platypus babies, which I don't blame him for thinking that might be a money-making
I don't
thing.
know if there's a market.
Exotic pets,
Exotic
you guys.
pets.
Sure,
You could
Exotic
charge.
butters.
I mean, probably
And
not
he's
enough
also-
to repay a government, but
But also, he's in Thailand. If he's still the prime minister of Thailand, that's a rare animal, I would figure.
Yeah.
So why not try to sell it for as much money as you can? Now, they couple up the campers. So we've got
Can we change partners? Of course not.
our partners, Neris and Harrison, Nerf and Preston.
Harrison.
Yep, already said
Harrison
them.
is the ship name.
There's it.
Correct. Nerf and Preston, Arid and Dolph, Max and Nikki, and Neil and Space Kid. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
no, those are perfect, very safe matches.
Especially with Neris and Harrison.
Oh no, they'll get along on everything. No disagreements.
Don't be mad.
I gotta say though, the egg with the top hat on was quite adorable.
Oh, that was super
I love
cute.
when they give dramatic close-ups on the eggs. Like, look at how happy he looks.
You're right.
This is
He's
an
ready
egg.
for solids.
From the outset, looking at these pairs, which were you the most excited to follow the journey of?
Max and Nikki.
Nikki is, of course, is the most adorable. But I was actually really excited to see Harrison and Neris.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, like seeing Nerf and Preston together, I was like, ooh, what possibilities are here? This could be really fun. This could be really fun. And it was so sad. It was funny, mind you, but it was so sad. It took a dark turn I was not expecting.
No,
I ran into a doorknob several times.
You know how I get when I'm angry. I remember.
They didn't hold back on that one.
No, like God.
Oh boy.
Poor Preston. Poor baby.
They brought back the signs.
Help me.
They'll be a very different kind of sign this time.
Oh.
How about you, Stacey? Did you already say? And then just
it was Harrison and
Yeah.
Harris was, yeah.
for me, Neil and Space Kid, just because there's a history there
No, that's
from
fair.
day one,
That's fair.
and it worked out as we expected.
I love how attached he got to his egg. And
Attached
it was,
is a word.
It was tragic when again we could kind of see it coming, but ultimately when it happened, it was just like I feel like this is a metaphor for something. Like you feel how sad it is for him when he crushes it.
I wonder if that wasn't his upbringing, though. I wonder if he wasn't obsessively helicoptered and homeschooled and, like, because I feel like, with the exception of Max and Nikki, because Nikki had no idea what she was doing, but was still doing everything terribly obsessively right in terms of raising a human child, kind of. And so many qualifiers in that sentence. But I feel like almost everyone else was a reflection of how they were raised.
Yeah, Arid and Dolph being the cool parents who were free spirits. That was
And then
pretty
Narison
funny.
wanting different things and then lying to each other and just,
Our
our kid's gonna be an actor, our kid's gonna be an astronaut.
I feel like Max put it best is nobody knows what they're doing, and he makes a very distinct comment. How do you think we all ended up here?
I did love his comment about maybe we'll just send it to camp for strangers to take care of it for 6 months or 3 months or however long it was.
A little too on the nose.
there.
Do you think we'll see Nerf and Preston's sweet boy again? My sweet boy.
When we see a baby platypus come running through, we know.
I thought every egg got wrecked except for Nikki's, though. Like, that was the thing. At the end, it was just...
Theirs ran away. It left a note.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It literally
So
left
it
it. I don't know.
necessarily get crushed.
You know what
It
I'm
still
kind of
gave
picturing?
Travis Willingham a heart attack, so I counted it.
You know what I'm kind of picturing? I'm picturing, like, did you ever see Tiny Toon Adventures where it was like the egg?
Yeah, with the lights.
Maybe not Tiny.
Egbert?
Was
Egbert?
it Tiny Toon Adventures or was it?
No, it was Garfield and Friends.
Garfield.
It was on the farm.
I'm picturing the little egg just.
Oh, you said
walking
Tiny
around.
Toons, and I was thinking of Go-Go, who is somewhat egg-like.
But yeah, no, Garfield, the little egg that's just walking around. That's kind of how I feel this platypus is going to be.
We've been getting a lot, and this is going to sort of go into the last couple of things we're going to talk about because we were very out of time. We've gotten a lot about parenting and behavior and things of that nature. And in this next chunk of episodes, we are going to be dealing with the finale, which is going to be Parents' Day at the camp. What are we expecting? What parents are we the most excited to meet? And who do we think is going to voice them? Because that's essentially over about 10 to 16, 20 new characters that we're going to be meeting over the course of 40 minutes.
I would imagine that they will, that most everyone who voices a character will just double up and do a different voice. Or every camper will also voice their own parents.
Sure.
Which would be amazing.
I don't think Nerfs will show up.
Oh, his mom's in jail.
Mom's in jail.
We knew that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying I don't think they'll show up.
Yeah.
Niels will be fighting the entire time because messy divorce. It'll be interesting to see Max's because we've had the least references
Right.
to their parents.
You know
to
what?
Max's
Only the
parents.
season 1 finale.
Yeah,
Or the last 2 episodes of season 1.
You know what would be interesting is if, like, at least one set of parents was actually a very functioning, well-adjusted couple.
Space Kids.
I was gonna say Preston, but Space Kid, yeah.
I especially
I want Neris's dad to be voiced by Matthew Mercer.
That would be so funny.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Excellent.
I would lose it
That
if
would be
that
kind
was
of incredible.
It's not gonna happen, but that would, well, they got Travis Willingham. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Hassan just says a social worker appears.
Aww.
Oh, what if it's a sting?
Yeah,
Oh,
this is all entrapment.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
For the camp itself, or for
Anything. What if one of their parents or sets of parents works for the government?
What if we say David's or Gwen's parents?
I was gonna say David's parents because it's Parents' Day for everybody, and damn it, David's gonna participate.
Kind of a weird note to bring up, so sorry for derailing, but like, did anybody else feel uncomfortable when Cameron Campbell called David Davy, which is what he's been calling him since he was a little
No.
boy?
Yep.
That's the
It
na-
strikes
that's-
a weird chord with me every time he does it.
That's the
too.
name that's stuck.
Yeah, it's just for whatever reason, like with the now that we've seen the flashback episode, it felt uncomfortable to me when he called him Davy now as an adult. I'm like, ooh.
It feels overtly manipulative.
Yeah.
And we know that he sees Cameron Campbell as a father figure, which will be interesting with Parents' Day. But it's also kind of the idea that David never really got past being like 11 or 12, at least outwardly. Like we saw in the season 1 finale that, yeah, you know, he's an adult, he understands these things, but
he's very insightful, yeah.
But I feel like this is almost a weird coping mechanism, and for Campbell to just be like, Davy, like, we're accepting this. No one is expecting you to be an adult. You're just kind of... It's weird. It is super weird.
I see that. I don't necessarily agree, but I can see that. I think that what he acknowledges in the Gwen episode about this being his dream job, his dream future, I think that takes a level of responsibility, a level of adulthood.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And he has it, but outwardly he still acts immature at a lot of points.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's a reflection on David's character. I feel like it's a reflection of Cameron's character and how he views David.
Sure.
Like you
Oh,
said,
absolutely.
being overtly manipulative, and that's why all of a sudden, like, I can't quite quantify it or qualify it. It's just when I realized what he was saying, I was like, ugh, and it made me feel icky. That's all.
It's like, and we're leaving.
Speaking of Icky, the last thing we're gonna do tonight, I need to, because I wrote it on my notes. I'm gonna grab my notes real quick.
I was wondering when you were gonna get up and get those
Eventually, they
back.
have
I
to
didn't
come
write them
back.
down because I didn't plan this out beforehand. I wrote them down as we were going live. Our camp activity for the finale.
Oh, boy.
I want to. This is a little bit more from the artists in the crowd. I want to see David and Bonbon's first date. Where did they go? What did they
Please
do?
make it something that we can visually put on air.
Yeah, something
boy.
appropriate, even though the word cock is on Bunquisha's shirt.
Is there much of a chance of that?
Or make something about the Costco anime we just created. Because
Yes.
why not?
Like that.
And then, if for those of you who don't want to draw anything, let us know who you think your favorite parents are going to be. If you have a preferred character, or draw the parents, give us a parent prediction. Why not? But until we reconvene at the next camp after show, let the folks know where they can find you and what you're working on.
Hi, all my buddies. I'm Katie Cullen. You can follow me all over the social medias, as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I'm currently streaming Hustle Cat, which is my first dating sim ever, which makes life super fun and interesting, you guys. Dating sims are a whole other ball of wax. I am also on Geek and Sundry's Gather Your Party on Friday nights. There's no episode this week because everyone's off at Gen Con, but we will be back next week. And as always, if you want to see the reaction videos for these, they live on the YouTube channel. Do the thing, win the stuff. It's super fun.
Stacey Shuttleworth.
Hi guys, I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttles.
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for the Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2Ks. Be sure to check those out. Be sure to also check out the Shadow Radio Recreation, where I do the voice of Margot Lane, and the upcoming podcast Apparitions, where I do the voice of the main character Adeline. Woo!
Nailed it. You
Yeah.
can find me on Twitter at Mark Donica. You can find me on Twitch at Soapbox Mark. My wife and I just started playing Dream Daddy, where we've got our character Teddy Bayer, who is
course.
who is a visual representation of Theodore Roosevelt. So please check that out because it was a lot of fun. Also check out our new gaming show, which we have on Popcorn Talk Network and on Twitch. It's called Inventory Full PT. We need your support. We're going to be launching extensively on Twitch within the next couple of weeks, so make sure to follow us there. And also follow all of us here at ABTV Rooster Team on Twitter. Follow everybody at the network at AfterBuzz TV. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Camp Camp After Show. We'll see you at Camp Campbell.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Fucking Bonbon?
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.